Today I'm going to use an unusual and a recycled item for crafting. Tyvek is a synthetic, kind of like a plastic really. It's made into envelopes and all sorts of different things. This one specifically is from the Uline company, but I've opened up my envelope and I'm going to scratch off that mailing label. I've used a little bit of a citrosolve, a little solvent to take off the adhesive, but if you don't get it off, that's totally fine. So I'm all about eyeballing things, and I want to make a cover for one of my junk journals. So I folded it up in approximately the size that I need, and I don't want it really floppy because that's really what Tyvek is. It's a really floppy kind of a really sturdy, what feels like paper. But I want to add some chipboard in there, so I'm making my covers about 1/4 of an inch all the way around, a little bit larger than the pages of the book. I've got a little spine piece in the center, and that is about the height, maybe a little bit more, the height or the width of all of my signatures for my book. I'm leaving about 1/4 of an inch space in between there because I want that cover to be able to flop around. I want it to open and close easily, and that's really going to help it. So now that my chipboard is glued onto my Tyvek cover, I'm just going to trim off the edges, and really I should have trimmed off the top and bottom as well. It will leave a lot of bulk, which is fine in the end, but if you want to trim yours off to about an inch or so, that's all really that you need. Now in order to miter the corners, if you just bring those corners in at a right angle, nice and crisp, you can get a really good mitered corner. So you want to do the corners first, and then you can glue in the sides and the top and the bottom. So I'll let that just stand straight up so that it can dry. To color my cover, I'm going to use some acrylic inks, and these are from Liquitex. I don't use these too often, so I wanted to pull out something that I need to show some love to. I'm going to choose some colors that are in the same color family because I know this is all going to kind of smush together and I don't want to make mud. So I've got some yellow, some red, and then I'm going to pull out some metallics. I have some silver there. And the silver is a little bit thicker than the other colors just because of the metallics. So I'm going to spray a little bit of water just so that it will help to slide the color around. And while I'm at it, I'll just smush it all on my craft mat and just give it a little bit of a quick dry. I really love dots and splatters, so I've got an old toothbrush and I'm going to add a little bit of splashes and splatters with the silver, and once I add the black, I'm totally happy. I love crafting with a little bit of black. So here is what my cover looks like once it's almost totally dry. I think that I will add some stamping or a large, maybe the words journal on the front. But for now, let's just dry that off and then we'll add the end papers. I'm using Liquitex. It's a heavy gel medium. I like heavy gel because it's really good with stronger papers. I prefer it better than a fluid matte medium. So I've got a double-sided scrapbooking paper, and I have cut this to 1/4 of an inch all the way around so that there's a little bit of a 1/4 of an inch spacing, and to just slightly more than half of the width of the book. That way the end papers will cover each other in the center. I'm just going to add that there, and I use an old hotel key or a credit card just to really scrape that down and get the air bubbles out. And you'll notice that I'm really trying to keep that bend and the fold where the cover meets the spine. Now that I have it all bound, I love, love, love my junk journal.